leading the way with important local coverage. You're watching WISN 12 News at 6.
Now at 6. Standing shoulder to shoulder, saying goodbye to a fallen officer.
A hero is an ordinary person who faces extraordinary challenges.
Milwaukee police officer Peter Jerving, remembered for his dedication to the job.
A man of action, a man who was fit, but also a man who was filled with loving kindness.
A solemn tribute from strangers.
You got to respect everything they do for the community.
To those who knew and loved Officer Jerving.
Dear brother, when the city was in danger, you answered the radio call. Dear brother, when the world called for a hero, you never resisted.
Some of the most moving words today from Officer Jerving's family. A family mourning a brother and a son killed in the line of duty last week.
A day of remembrance ending here at Wisconsin Memorial Park, Officer Jerving's final resting place.
Officer Peter Jerving, badge number 3422 of the Milwaukee Police Department. End of watch. February 7th, 2023. May you rest in peace. We have to watch from here. Milwaukee Police clear.
Officer Jerving's end-of-watch radio call sounding late this afternoon outside Elmbrook Church. Then the final procession, hundreds of law enforcement vehicles to bring Officer Jerving to the cemetery at Wisconsin Memorial Park. And tonight we have team coverage as the community and Milwaukee Police Department remember the life of Officer Jerving. We start with 12 News' Hillary Mintz live at Elmbrook Church. Hillary?
Well, Patrick, you really didn't have to know Officer Jerving to really feel the emotion and the gravity of today's service. So many people spoke during the funeral, and they all said, to know Peter was to love him. He impacted so many lives, and they say he died doing what he was set out to do, what he was dedicated to doing, which was protecting his community.
A lifelong dream to become a police officer.
Peter wanted to work the north side of Milwaukee where he grew up.
Sadly, last week that dream cut short. Officer Peter Jerving killed in the line of duty. But in the face of sadness, the officer's mother asking for forgiveness at her son's funeral.
I ask for you to wipe away any bitterness that they might have in their hearts toward the young man who cut down Peter.
Monday, law enforcement from across the state and Midwest crowded into Elmbrook Church to honor the fallen officer, a man so many said lived and loved big.
When the time for action arose, you complied with no fear. Dear brother, when the city was in danger, you answered the radio call. Dear brother, when the world called for a hero, you never resisted. Dear brother, what is your 1020? I miss you.
The sounds of Amazing Grace echoed through the church, a final farewell and a symbol of thanks to the officer's ultimate sacrifice.
And Officer Jerving's sister-in-law, pastor, presided over the funeral service. We also heard from Officer Jerving's father, the mayor, police chief, and his District 4 captain.
An emotional day here in Brookfield. Hillary Mintz at Elmbrook Church in Brookfield tonight. And within the last few minutes, the final vehicles in the procession made their way to Officer Jerving's burial site here. News Chopper 12 flew over the procession from Elmbrook Church down Barker Road before turning on Capitol Drive to the cemetery here on the other end of Brookfield. Right now, let's check in with 12 News' Hannah Hilliard. She is along that route. She joins us live. Hannah?
Yeah, Patrick, we've made our way to Lilly and Capitol, where off in the distance where all of those brake lights you see, that is closer to the entrance of the cemetery, where we understand Officer Jerving has now made his way there in that hearse with the nearly 10-mile long procession. It just wrapped up here where we are right now, and we know that there's been crowds gathered at intersections along this procession. So you're looking right now at about an hour ago at Brookfield and Capitol. We saw 24 or so people line the streets there. None of them personally knew Officer Jerving, at least those we spoke with, but we saw strangers of all ages stop by to pay their respects. Why did you want to be out here today?
Because I wanted to support him, because he did his job and he was serving everyone else and making everyone else and he was doing good for everyone else.
What do you expect to see and or feel as this procession comes by?
It's going to be kind of sad because he died doing his duty.
Yeah, that's 10-year-old Tinley from Menominee Falls, and it was a somber and quiet moment as that procession made its way past those people. We saw some people that were stuck in traffic just get out of their cars and put their hands over their heart or salute that procession as it went by. A very touching and somber moment out here in Brookfield today, Patrick.
And people gathered here as well outside the cemetery. Real show of support along that route. Hannah Hilliard, reporting live tonight. Let's bring in 12 News' Nick Bohr now. He's at Elmbrook Church in Brookfield. Nick, dignitaries and police from several states gathered today to honor Officer Jerving.
Right, Patrick, it's maybe the most visible way that law enforcement can show the impact of Officer Jerving's death by gathering from near and far, filling this parking lot, more than 300 vehicles strong.
It is painfully clear how much the loss of one police officer affects so many. In a procession, hundreds of squads long, police from at least 5 states showed they're united in their loss.
The outpouring of support from local agencies and nationwide that come in to pay their respects it's overwhelming, and it's a way for the family to see that support.
It's just a terrible thing, and it's happening too often, and one of the silver linings is that we can hopefully bring everyone together and we can try to cope with this together. There's a lot of people suffering. There's a whole community, a whole city, the country.
All wear black bands over their badges, some even with Officer Jerving's badge number. Blue ribbons adorn each squad, all signs of unity at a tragic time.
It's just very important to support one of our fallen brothers and sisters nationwide. We're a profession, we're more than a profession, we're a family, and it's so heartwarming to see people coming from near and far to support one another.
What do you think it says to the family to see this kind of a turnout from law enforcement, from all over?
I think it's huge, and it's kind of an eye-opener that, they're not alone.
And it was remarkable to see that procession, as you've all been talking about all afternoon, just continue on all the way to the cemetery. All of those officers affected, and some of them in the passenger seats also with their phones out taking video of the people who were gathered along that route as well. You could tell that they were touched by that statement from the public as well. Patrick.
And that procession spread out over several miles. Nick Bohr reporting live tonight in Brookfield. Now, loved ones tonight are honoring Officer Jerving, his life, including his former co-workers. We have a memorial stone we want to show you that is being placed at Officer Jerving's former employer, Western States Envelope and Label in Butler. Those who worked with him echoed what we've heard so much of, that they will miss the man that he was.
Everything about him made you happy. I mean, his smile, whether it was his hug. Last thing I did when I saw him 2 years ago was give him a hug and told him I loved him and be careful. He just was that kind of guy.
Officer Jerving died in the line of duty last Tuesday morning during a shooting with a 19-year-old robbery suspect. Police say the robbery took place near Teutonia and Good Hope on the city's north side. The shooting happened hours later, nearly 13 miles away on the city's south side near 14th and Cleveland. The suspect also died. Police say the suspect and Jerving exchanged gunfire as another officer struggled with the suspect on the ground. Jerving had 4 years of service with Milwaukee Police. And we have full coverage of Officer Jerving's funeral and procession right now on Facebook, WISN.com, and the 12 News mobile app. There we also have more from those who remember Officer Jerving's life. For now, let's toss it back to you in the studio, Kristen and Joyce.
Thank you, Patrick. We have new developments to tell you about tonight involving the Pentagon saying F-16 fighter jets out of Madison shot down an unidentified object Sunday over Lake Huron. President Biden ordered the mission.
12 News political director Matt Smith live in the newsroom tonight with what he's learning. Matt.
Kristen, the object shot down over Lake Huron after the Pentagon says it was detected in parts of eastern Wisconsin and Lake Michigan. Take a look at some new images coming in tonight. Aviation photographers are sharing with 12 News of F-16 jets arriving back at Truex Field in Madison last night just after 5 o'clock. One of the two of the returning jets, one missile is missing on each of them. Tonight, the U.S. Coast Guard and Canadian authorities saying they are still continuing to search in Lake Huron for that debris.
As a chairman of a committee in the House, I've received confidential and secure briefings from the Department of Defense as to what's playing out right now. I'm calling on the Biden administration to be more transparent with the American people and with Congress. I think it's important that the American people understand what's causing these events.
This was the third unidentified object shot down in just days after the military discovered and shot down that suspected Chinese spy balloon this month, Kristen.
And Matt, you're also learning more about the airmen and the mission coming from Madison.
Minnesota's governor tonight saying the airmen were part of the 148th based in Duluth, and they were based at Truex in Madison at the time. Members of Wisconsin's delegation anticipating more classified briefings in Washington in the coming days.
And as we get that information, we'll pass it along. Matt Smith reporting live. Thank you.
Tonight, Milwaukee police are investigating what they're calling a fatal battery incident. Officials say a 35-year-old woman has died from her injuries. It happened Saturday night around 8 o'clock near 9th and Meineke. The suspect, a 56-year-old man, is in police custody tonight.
After a close call for two Racine police officers last month, a desperate plea for more officers. 12 News reporter Hillary Mintz is working on that story right now.
12 News investigates Racine police staffing crisis. Cops under fire. Their families concerned about the lack of backup. What the department's doing to protect the community and the plan to boost backup.
Does the lack of staff, though, is that adding to the already stressful job?
Yes, 100%. Her husband was shot. Now she's sounding the alarm about the staffing crisis that may be putting the public at risk. 12 News investigates tonight on 12 News at 10.
Still to come tonight at 6, remembering the life of fallen police officer Peter Jerving.
Still ahead, continuing coverage of Jerving's funeral as he is laid to rest. The final goodbye for the officer killed in the line of duty. Plus,
why should people trust you?
Coffee with the candidates. Jaron Jordan goes one-on-one with Judge Jennifer Doro as she makes a bid for a state Supreme Court seat.
Plus, from 50s to snow when winter returns. Next.